Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. In this video, you're going to learn the success secrets of the band The Beatles. Now, the philosophy here is that success leaves clues. And whether you're studying successful entrepreneurs, successful marketers, or successful Olympic athletes or musicians, there's going to be clues left behind that will help you on your path. And I am confident you're going to have an absolute aha moment watching this video. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about their backstory and focus in on one period that very few people actually know about, and that's where the success clue lies. We're going to end by tying this back around to you with your internet business, with your internet marketing, so you understand from that kind of real world example what that means to you, so you can apply this to your business moving forward. The same philosophy that Napoleon Hill took when he went and documented the most successful entrepreneurs of his day in his book Think and Grow Rich. It's really good for us to look back through history at some of these really successful examples to understand what did they do so we can apply some of these philosophies to our business moving forward. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. I've got a few things I'm going to read on my monitor here, but mainly it's just trying to paint the picture of where they started. So before we get there, I want to share a few statistics about the Beatles' success. I mean, it's one of the very few bands that no matter where you go in the world, everyone knows the Beatles, whether you love them or not. They are absolutely one of the most successful music bands in kind of history, really. So they sold a total of 1.6 billion singles in the United States of America alone, 600 million albums sold worldwide, 21 number one songs, that's on the Billboard's charts, and 25 number one albums, okay? These guys are literally world class, some of the best musicians ever, whether you like them or not, right? That doesn't matter. Their success stands for itself. Here's where it gets really interesting. We need to rewind back to the time between 1960 and 1962, before they were known globally, when they were just a group of guys trying to figure things out. They didn't even have all their bandmates dialed in at this period. What they did is they left England and they went to Hamburg, Germany, and they went into the red light district of Hamburg, Germany, and they began playing shows at a number of different clubs. They actually started by playing 48 shows in 48 consecutive nights, starting literally the night after they got there. I'm going to read you a couple of clips I've got from Wikipedia, from the Beatles Bible, from a couple of their books. So I'm going to read a couple of things that's going to really make this a clear picture of where they were. The group spent a total of 7 weeks performing at the Indra Club, a German venue. Now, something interesting, I don't know if this was a strip club or it used to be a strip club. This was a very, very seedy place, and there very well could have been playing at a strip club, or it was a strip club that just turned into a music venue, possibly had strippers on stage while they were performing. So my point there is, this is not a high-class establishment. This is not a venue that you look forward to playing. This was an opportunity. They seized it. They played 48 nights straight, notching up 172 hours of playing. Between 1960 and 1962, the Beatles played an estimated 281 concerts in Hamburg's kind of red light party district. Sometimes they started at 7 in the morning and played all the way till 7 in the evening. That's 12-hour sets. In 2 short years, they played more live music in Hamburg than anywhere else in their world in their entire career. So what does this mean? They took a condensed period of time. The first 48 days, they played every single day straight. Do you notice a kind of a similarity to my 90-day challenge that I like to challenge people with? There is something that happens when you do a task over and over, whether it's content marketing, you put out blog posts every day, whether it's YouTube marketing, you do a video every day, or whether you're a band and you get up live in front of an audience every day for 48 days straight. Note, they weren't in a garage practicing. They were actually performing. This was a gig, although not the most reputable location for the gig. And they played more together in one place in that condensed time than they did at any other part of their career. And these dudes toured the world. So the living conditions in this day and age, I want to share 2 quotes, one from McCartney and one from Lennon. So McCartney later said, "We lived backstage in the Bambi Kino next to the toilets, and you could always smell them. The room had been an old storeroom, and there were just concrete walls and nothing else. No heat, no wallpaper, not a lick of paint, and 2 sets of bunk beds with not very much covers, Union Jack flags. We were frozen." think of those living conditions that they were in. They went literally, like, this is bottom of the barrel type stuff. Talk about scraping by. This is ramen, today's version of ramen noodle budget type living, right? They were literally living next to the toilets in a club. As John Lennon remembered, we were put in this pigsty. We were living in a toilet, like right next to the ladies' toilets. We'd go to bed late and we'd be woken up the next day by the sound of the cinema show and the old German women pissing next door. That's a direct quote from him. Their living conditions during this period of time, they did 2 years like this, were absolutely horrible, but they grinded it out. They were on the hustle. And you know what they were actually doing? They were really truly honing their skills is what was going on. They were mastering their craft and no one knew who they were. So Lennon said it was Hamburg that did it. That's where we really developed. To get the Germans going and to keep it up for 12 hours at a time, we really had to hammer. We never would have developed as much if we had stayed at homes. I got chills saying this to you. We had to try anything that came into our heads in Hamburg. There was no one to copy from. We played what we liked best, and the Germans liked it as long as it was loud, right? So they just went for it. They laid it all out on the table, and every night they just gave it their all, and they learned a ton. And as John Lennon said, it was Hamburg that did it. That's where we really developed. And it's because they, in a condensed time period, they played so much together. They absolutely mastered their craft. And in a band, there's this synergy that they found, right? They learned each other's timing, each other's tempos. They know where they go on solos. They know what they do in jam out sessions, right? This is analogous to what I am just so trying to help you get, that you have to put in long periods of consistent effort in order to truly achieve success. See, most people look at the Beatles and they think of the stadiums full of screaming girls, oh my God, on stage, that fame and success. I would bet that 90 to 95% of people, even Beatles fans, don't realize how bad of conditions these were and how condensed of a time playing. They were playing in literally practically like strip clubs or ex-strip clubs. Couldn't find an exact data point on that, but strip club had something to do with it in there. Like, these were atrocious conditions, but they didn't care. Why? They had a vision. They knew where they were going. They knew what they were creating in their lives, and they went through absolute hell to get to the other side, and they, out of that, forged a stronger, cohesive band that literally became one of the best bands that the world has ever seen. One more thing here. I want to run a little bit of numbers. So I found that they played during this stint, these 2 years, right? They played at least 4.5 hours every day on weekends, and they played 6 hours at minimum, 4.5 hours on weekdays, 6 hours minimum on weekends. Some days they ended up playing 12 hours per day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So let's run these numbers, right? I found out that they played 281 shows in this 2-year period of time. If you take an average of 4.5 hours per show, that means, so right, 4.5 hours multiplied by 281 concerts, this is the minimum, right, expected. They played over 1,264 hours of live shows with an audience on stage with that band in a 2-year period. That's why they became so successful. That's why they got to be so good. If you look into the successful people, you just notice people at some point on their evolution. Really interesting fact, 10 days after their last Hamburg concert in 1962, 10 days after they recorded their first LP, Please Please Me, it was released and it took the world by storm, and that shot them onto a trajectory onto the world stage. Most people only heard that song on the radio. They saw this new album in the record store back in those days, right? Like, they just appeared on the scene, and most people don't realize that they spent an incredible amount of time playing live in front of an audience over this extended period of time, grinding it out. I'll go as far as saying putting in more time, more effort, and more work than any other band in that time, and possibly any other band in history. Apply that to your business. Think about what that means to your business. That's why I've been such a proponent of starting with a 90-day challenge or a 120-day challenge, putting out your content every day. It hones your craft. It sharpens the steel. Then you got to really stick with it and carry through. They had 25 best-selling albums. Think about that. Like every album is going to have what, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 different songs on it. Think of the amount of songs that they produced along their career. And this is literally, right, this all happened about 60 years ago is when they started that. 1960 was, what, about 58 years ago at this point in time? So this idea, this philosophy of outworking everyone, of putting in the time to master and hone your craft, regardless of whether you're getting the kinds of feedback. Like in those days, they had drunk Germans and strippers and potentially prostitutes hanging out, giving them applause. They were doing it because they had this urge and they knew they were going to become a successful band. They knew where they were going, and all they wanted to do in that period of time was play as much as they could in a condensed period of time, and it absolutely worked out. So how much effort are you putting into your business? That's the question. How much time and energy are you putting into your internet marketing campaigns, to your landing pages, your content marketing, your Facebook ads, etc., etc.? So many people want to find success this week. I get these messages, Miles, where can I invest? I got $1,000 to invest. How can I make money online? You know what? Give it a shot. Stick with it for 3 years. See if you got 3 years worth of content in you, because that's what it takes to be successful in this world. There are no shortcuts. The shortcut is to do what they did, right? Go do a 90-day challenge, master a craft, find that one medium which you're the best at, which is easiest for you. For me, it's these videos. For some people, it's podcasting. For others, it's writing. Then just go flex that muscle over and over and over and over. And really, you just got to put it out there to the world. You got to do your performance, whether that's a written thing or a spoken thing or a video thing. You got to do it in a very condensed period of time. You're going to learn the craft. You're going to master the craft. You're going to get better at it. And then you're going to be seeding the search engines, whether it's Google, the podcast search engines, or YouTube. You're going to be seeding them with all kinds of content. And if you're doing a little bit of keyword research, which I teach on the channel, doing a little tiny bit of SEO, right? Getting those keywords in the right places, you will absolutely begin to drive traffic. You will begin to grow your audience. And then it's all about list building. Covered all the tactical stuff, but it's that big picture. It's helping you really understand beyond a shadow of a doubt that success comes from repeatedly doing the thing that is your performance. For the Beatles, it was playing. For speed skaters in the Olympics, it's speed skating day in and day out, right? Like whatever that craft is. If it's Shaun White and snowboarding, that dude snowboards a ton, right? Like you got to look at all of these successful people, whether they just burst on the scene and they seem to be overnight successes. If you dig a little bit into any overnight success that has ever appeared into your reality, you'll find out there was 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years of grinding behind the scenes that you didn't know about them, no one knew about them, but they didn't care. They were doing their thing. They had their mission. They knew where they were going. They had their vision, and they were grinding it out because that was their calling, and they were putting in the effort that's required. That's why they became overnight successes. This is why the Beatles became one of the most successful musical bands ever in history, was because of that 2-year period where they played 281 shows in 2 years' time. They played 48 nights straight, often playing between 4.5 and 6 hour sets. That is a ridiculous amount of time. You go to any concert today, you might get a 60-minute set. If you get a 90-minute set from a professional at like a real deal concert, you got a gift. These dudes played 4.5 at minimum. Right? You got to really take this. I hope this is clicking with you. If this makes sense, hit me in the comments. Be like, Miles, I got it. I get it. I understand. This is why Gary Vaynerchuk is so focused on like, do the work, do the work, do the work, do the work. Grind it out for 3 years. Grind it out for 5 years, because he gets it. This is the secret to success. This is the shortcut to success. It's when you jump around and try this and try that and try this and try that, and all of a sudden 10 years go by. Where are you at? Right where you started, because you didn't follow through with any one thing long enough to achieve the success that you truly desire. I hope this success secret makes sense to you. If it does, get at me in the comments. Give me a thumbs up here. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, hit the little bell. Engage however you want. Feel free to share this. Embed this video if you'd like into a blog post that's relevant to this. I'm open. Do what you do. I appreciate you, and I hope this has really opened your eyes that you can look in any industry in the world. I guarantee you will find this kind of a pattern appearing, and this is the true path to success. It's exactly why I've got 45,000 plus subscribers on this channel. It's exactly why my wife's website got like 8 million plus visits last month. This is why we get to live the lifestyle we want to live, is because we put in the work, right? We've been doing it day in and day out and day in and day out, and it's often quiet and you don't hear much from behind the scenes. You don't know how many times I try to record this video till I got it right this one time, right? You don't know all the little things that happen behind the scenes. All you see is this event of it popping up on your radar. It is an absolute grind. But those who who get through it, who put in the work, who do what's required and sharpen their craft, and they get better at it, and they're helpful and they're giving value to their audience, those are the people who achieve success online. Hope this makes sense. This is the true secret to success. The Beatles proved it. I'm showing you exactly with this channel. My wife and I have done it. I know dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of entrepreneurs from around the world who have followed this exact same path to success. Check out Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point, I believe it was, or it was his Outliers book, where this is covered in greater detail. It's that idea. You got to put in thousands of hours to truly gain mastery of something, and you got to become a master at your niche and at internet marketing. So let's roll up them sleeves. Let's get to work. Let's do what's required, because you can do this. I know you can if you put in the work. Thanks again. I kind of went on a little longer than expected, but I do appreciate you if you made it to the end. Hashtag badass to you. Good work. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next video. Until then, be well. And remember, grind it out. Put in that work. Your future self will thank you.